start to grow it slowly, one step at a time.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. That's great. Speaking also to the experience itself, let's take it to a more physical type, like a physical location for an office. You know, you walk into an office, sit in the chair, kujum, you know, it's squeaking. You look at the way the reception table is set up. You know, it sort of puts you off. That also, I believe, is part of the experience. So, does it also apply to the surrounding itself? Be like, okay, so when, you know, I've been to offices where, like, you walk in before you even reach where you're going. She's like, oh, can I help you? Where are you going? Why are you here? Oh, I'm here to open an account. Oh, so let me take you this way. You register here, and then she'll wait for you, and then once you're done, okay, now I take you here. I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to stay here. Versus you go into other places and you're asking maybe the person you find at the door, and they're grumpy from the morning, I don't know what happened, and you know, they're just like, yeah, somewhere kuja. You know what I mean? So, does it also apply, apart from just, you know, selling the lifestyle and the movement itself, does it also apply to physical spaces?
Yeah, it does. We all operate in the area where how I perceive you is how I actually treat you. You know, there was a time I was, okay, I won't share that story yet. Okay, so how people perceive you is how they take you. When they take you, let's say you're a joker, okay, and then you come, you've got a serious idea, and that idea can actually work. It's so unfortunate that we live in an era where, look, I will only do something if I believe you look the part. As long as you don't look the part, there's very few people who actually take people at face value, like for their actual value. You know, what we see is what people mostly get, and that's how they want to interact with you. Okay, so when we were starting, I remember I would be standing next to, the Pompies, the Mark 44s. These guys are famous, so you're going somewhere. And then, you're standing there and they're greeting, they're greeting the team. They say we're on tour and they'll come, oh, Pompey, how are you? Awesome. They'll spend 10 minutes there greeting him. Next, Mark 44, pa. Then next, oh, hi. Then he's gone, okay? So now that oh, hi guy was me, okay? Constantly. Then the next thing you just hear Mark 44 is like, oh, by the way, this is Steven, and he's the guy who's behind our marketing. He's the guy who's behind, the distribution of our music. The next thing you just see, oh, sir, can I get your number? It changes. Because the perception they were having of me is just this simple guy with I used to move around with a bag, okay? So I had this bag here, a blue bag, that was my office, okay? So they're seeing that and they're like, oh, obviously he's the chola boy, or, he's just a simple guy, okay? Unfortunately, we live in a world where people treat you the way they see you. Okay, so now because we live in that world, that's actually an advantage to us people who are doing business, because it means we can predict people's behavior. So it means if I look the part, you'll think I am the part. And then by the time you're discovering that I'm not, I've taken half of your money and I'm gone. Okay, and that's what happens, especially in the marketing world. There's a lot of agencies that are popping up. Okay, and these agencies look the part, and they're signing big contracts. And why? Because they looked the part, and they looked like they were better. But then, remember when I was starting, branding is perception meeting the real world. Okay? Because there's a difference between, branding and lying. And that difference is where reality meets, the perception. So, in a nutshell, it plays a very important role. Like how, for example, your office space, your image in every aspect of your company, every single area where your company will interact with people, you must pay attention to how it looks. Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, they'll treat you the way they see you. But by the time they're seeing your value, it may be too late. And you don't want to start waiting constantly for the too late. Yeah. So it is very important.
Yeah, definitely. It's true. So if I walk into your office, please, don't be those people. I'm done, coach. But I'm giving you money.
Bringing money. Yeah.
Exactly. So I feel like not only startups, but even corporates that grow to a certain level where you have so many divisions, and then, you know, customer service just
Isn't there?
it lacks. I feel like that stems from within the organization itself. Someone I like to quote is Richard Branson. He says, take care of your employees and they will take care of your customers. Because if your employees are happy and, you know, they're enjoying what they're doing, meaning if that's the way they will treat the customer, and the customer, you will retain the customer.
Yeah.
Speaking to, like you said, you know, people coming afterwards, after the fire has been burnt, and then like, oh my God, you pitched to us last time, huh? Yes, taking advice. This is something that I feel as startups is, it's where we sort of fail, because our ideally, naturally, like you said, gravitate to someone who's like, he's giving me advice, he's dressed in a nice, you know, Gucci suit with a fancy tie, then he's telling me all this about marketing. So, you know, we need billboard and ABCD and ABCD. I'll naturally go to him versus coming to you who actually knows what they're talking about. I'm like, this guy, Valanamosi Day of Thunder t-shirt. What would he tell me about branding? You know what I mean? So, like, how do we as startups ourselves, as people in business, determine what's the right place to get advice from, especially in regards to branding, because it's so important?
I think when you're looking for advice and all that, the best thing is look at track records. Okay, look at track records. What have you worked on? Because as much as we always criticize, you know, companies that are constantly asking about experience, show us your experience, show us experience. In some cases, experience is very important. Okay, because there are times that, you know, you entrust something that's super important to someone who knows nothing about what they're doing. Okay, and the other thing that you could also do is learn to entrust the smaller projects to the newbies. Okay, so if you're assuming someone doesn't have a track record, but they have what it takes, give them the smaller projects. Okay, start small. Okay, then start working up. The problem that we have is we constantly want to be big, fast. You know, we want to move from point A to point B to point Z like in one step. Okay, and then we forget like the entire process of going through. And because of that desire, we're easily deceived. So the moment you see something that looks big, you automatically think like, oh no, this is the deal I have to do. You go into it and you're broken. Okay, and because of that, you find that even the process of working with others, you are not entrusting them in bite size. You know, the best is, okay, look, I'll start off with this, and then when you do this well for me, let's move on to the next project. When you do that well for me, let's move on to the next project. So like for the business I'm in, I work a lot with different creatives, so graphic designers, photographers, what. Every time there's an idea, what I normally do is I'll get the project that even if they mess up, it doesn't affect me, okay? And I'll call them on board, let's work on this project. And when you see that what they've done for you is magic, throw something else, until you get it right. And the other thing about branding is about creativity. And creativity is not just about one person. So always have a door open to work with as many creatives as you can. Okay, if you feel like, okay, I'm in the season of Michael Bay, I'll work with Michael Bay. Okay, if I'm with this one, I'm with this one. If I'm with it, you get what I mean? You have to understand what you're trying to bring to life. And as you're trying to bring that to life, figure out what personalities speak to that idea.